Hey Outdoor Ed, it's Mr. G. I am so excited that today is October the 15th because here in the Cowichan Valley Regional District, October 15th means it's burning season, which means that beyond just having a standard campfire, you can have an open burn in a designated burn pit as long as you manage it and monitor it throughout the day. But it can be more of a bonfire style. So it's taking that campfire, which is generally about 3 to 4 feet wide and no more than 4 feet high, and giving yourself an opportunity to dispose of more waste. You can see behind me, got some pretty big green trees, and these, sometimes the branches, they need managing. So it's a great opportunity to get a big burn going here in the home burn pit. I might have got a little bit of a head start with a couple of campfires over the last week or so. So I got a really nice bed of like dry ash here, and because it's been dry over the last few days, it's a great time to start a fire. So I wanted to take this opportunity to talk about a classic campfire build. And it's one that's super effective even if you're just starting off small outdoors but you want to build to like a giant bonfire. Sometimes you'll see people put a whole bunch of material into a bonfire situation and try and light it with an accelerant like gasoline or maybe a giant fire starter. But the simplest approach and the safest approach is to build a classic log home campfire, get a really hot flame going and some hot coals on the inside, and then add the remaining brush material, which I've got a lot of thanks to this big juicy tree right here, on top of all of that once it heats up. So I'm going to show you how that goes. Are you ready? Let's do it. We're going to start things off by taking a couple of pieces of kindling and just kind of separating some of the old ash around the bonfire pit. This will give us a nice cauldron of excellent dry ground to start our new fire on. Oh, like that. And then what I like to do is I look over my kindling pieces and I say, oh, which are the biggest ones? So this guy's a big one and this guy's a big one. There you go. Not much bigger than, say, the width of your hand, but we go 2, and then another couple of bigger pieces. Yeah, 2 and 2. And we're gonna crisscross them like a hashtag. And our first level is a great place to start adding some nice newspaper. Now, newspaper is a great accelerant. It burns clean and dry, but it burns really quickly. And if you don't properly place it, single sheets at a time, in the middle of your fire, then it's going to create some ash that flies up in the air. So I like to take one single piece, ball it up, let it open up a little bit, and in the middle of my hashtag, I'm going to put 4 pieces. And then I'm going back to my kindling. Next level. And I've got 2 more final pieces here. And before I put them on, I might even just take a couple more pieces of newspaper, a single piece, and start filling the middle so I can get the inside really, really hot. And that's going to be super helpful when I want to start burning some bigger stuff. Pieces. I think we picked this one up down at the grocery store. It's one of those advertisement pictures. Let's see what I got. Flint and steel is a great way to ensure that you're safe and sound on a camping trip in case things get wet, but always make sure that you take along a standard Bic lighter. They're great. You can light all 4 corners. You can start to see some progress right away, and once the deeper pieces of paper ignite, then your center is going to get real hot. Right, run down Main Street. There you go. So because of the crisscross formation and a little bit of accelerant, oxygen, you're going to find that you've got the perfect fire triangle. So let's talk about it. What is involved in the fire triangle? You need oxygen, which is around us at all times, but sometimes a little bit of breath of fresh air is helpful. Gets things cooking. Oxygen. You need fuel. That's the firewood, and also, some of the newspaper. Fuel, something to burn. And then you also need something to kick light in. And as I mentioned, the lighter's helpful, but for those of you in outdoor ed, you won't have that luxury. We're gonna have to make things happen with flint and steel, just like Steve in Minecraft. So as we continue to build our inner flame, look at this. Here's Princess Auto. Ooh, the latest in sales, but it's a nice little booklet. Because I want this to get really hot really quick, I'm gonna throw my booklet right in the middle. I'm gonna get it going real hot, real quick. And what that means is I can start to take some of the landscaping work that I've done around my property and start to build a much bigger flame. And let me tell you, off camera, I've got a lot to burn. So as you can see, this one's really gotten a great start to it. And now we're gonna continue to add stuff. I'll be right back. Sometimes when trees get old and gnarly, you gotta cut them down. And that leaves you big, funky chunks. Can't quite fit them into the fire inside, but they create the mold for what allows us to burn the much bigger pieces. So we're gonna start to build up our central fire. This is going to give us the kind of foundation that we need to really add more green material. So because this was deep rooted and old and dead, it's been dried for maybe 2 or 3 months, especially throughout the summer. But as the fall progresses, we need to do some limbing or trimming of trees. And that material is green. It's been freshly cut, which means that it takes a little bit more heat to get it to burn, and it creates a bit more smoke. So what we do is we build up a really solid base fire, get it nice and hot, and then we add the green material afterwards. Check it out, it makes a cool crackle, but also gives you a bit of smoke. Outdoor Ed ASMR. Here you go. As the green limbs start to really take the fire, you'll hear them crackle. As you can see, it's quite simple to make a very big, hot, warm fire with a little bit of newspaper, trusty Bic lighter, and some really dry kidney. Fire week's coming up. I hope you get an opportunity to roast some marshmallows. I do it all the time. See you soon, Outdoor Ed.